Well, you have this new show, Honestly Cavallari, the Headline Tour, which is following your podcast tour. It's so much fun. What made you want to get back into reality TV?
Well, I know I've said 1,000 times I would never go back, and I stand by what I've said, because this is not a show about my day-to-day life. Yes, you see little glimpses leading up to the tour, but really I filmed doing my podcast tour for a week, which I was already doing, so I just thought, why not have cameras come along and really capitalize on the experience? And I filmed the entire show in 2 weeks, which is a dream. I mean, that's unheard of. So, you know, it was the perfect experience, perfect opportunity, and I'm really happy that I went back, because this was the most enjoyable experience I've had on a show.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that, and we're, as fans, happy you came back.
Thank you.
Well, I love to see how much fun your kids are having with this experience. Were there a lot of conversations that went into, you know, deciding to show their faces on camera?
Yeah, so I've always said I wanted to wait until they were old enough to make that decision. And so about a year and a half ago, I started, you know, slowly kind of putting them out there on social media a little bit, because they had been asking. And again, I mean, my oldest is about to be 13. I mean, he's a teenager. And so with the show, yes, there were a lot of conversations about it, and they were really excited, and they really wanted to be on camera. And you can tell if you've seen the show. I mean, they loved it. And again, they filmed for 2 days for maybe an hour each day. It was very minimal. They're in maybe 3 or 4 scenes in the whole show.
Thanks, Mom.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Mom.
Did you hear about that one kid? She was like 12 years old and she drove to Target.
Yeah, I did.
That would literally be one of your kids, though.
I stole my stepbrother's car in 8th grade and just like drove around the neighborhood.
So I do feel like it was a way to include them without it being too much and feeling like they're overexposed. I, again, stand by what I've said. I would never do a reality show just about our day-to-day life with my children. I still want to keep my kids kids, but this was a cool way to share this reality experience, because it's been such a big part of my life for over 20 years that I am glad we have that moment together.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's going to be like a nice little home video to look back
Yeah,
on someday, too.
exactly, yeah.
Well, I want to get into the podcast tour. So Kim Zolciak, she was your first guest on the tour. What made her the perfect first guest?
Well, the first stop was Atlanta, and of course Kim is an icon, period, but in Atlanta especially. And I've known Kim a long time. I really value that, you know, she's someone who's authentic.
Like, we all know you've been in the media a lot, and we're gonna get to it, but
I always want to know with the housewives, are they real?
It's 100% real.
come on.
I promise you, it's 100% real.
I'm shocked.
They never told you what to say or do, or it turned out as crazy as it was.
She's dealt with a lot in the press, especially as of late. And because this is the Headline Tour, and I wanted to talk about the headlines and how ridiculous the media can be, I thought there was no better person than Kim Zolciak, and she made the first show so great. I was so nervous. She put me at ease. It was great. I thought it was perfect.
Yeah, gotta love that female power.
Exactly, yeah.
I simply have to ask about Glen Powell, because we learned in the show that you guys met partying in Greece. There may have been some dry humping going on.
She recently went on a date with, she's gonna be so mad at me actually.
Oh my God.
With Glen Powell, and I wanted it to happen so bad.
Is there anything you can say about that experience with him?
I'm gonna leave it at that.
Just there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite movie of his?
No.
Fair enough. You had the Laguna Beach season 2 cast on too, and that Lindsay Lohan story was wild. Have you gotten to connect with her at all since that happened?
Not in the last however many years. I know I had seen her after that. Well, I'd seen her multiple times after that, but not, I mean, God, I probably haven't seen her since 2008 or 9, somewhere in there. So yeah.
Wow.
A lot's changed.
Yeah,
We've both grown up. We've both become mothers. You know, I think it would be very different today if we saw each other.
Definitely. And can I just say, you handled Taryn so well on that
Talan.
stage. Talan. What did I say?
Keep that in. That's hilarious.
Oops. You handled him so well on that stage. He was a little bit of a mess, not super kind to you.
Look at this bad boy. Zinning and has a mullet. Oh my God.
I'm slowly turning into a Montana boy. Like,
Someone needs to take this break.
How did you keep your cool on stage in that moment?
You know, I think I'm unfortunately or fortunately so used to having things thrown at me, good and bad, my entire career that in front of 1,000 people in a live audience and cameras, I'm not going to lose my cool. But I mean, you see it as soon as I come off stage, but then next week's episode, you really see the aftermath of it, and I was not happy.
I had to go downstairs when you were doing the Laguna Beach thing because he made one comment where like my jaw dropped. That was the biggest slap in the face in front of all these people.
These guys love to just put me down in front of everybody. And like literally every guy in my life has done that to me. It's like so up. I'm like, Talan, you.
I was really actually upset about it. And I will say this, I love Talan. We are totally fine now. We've talked about it. He's apologized. I can totally appreciate he was really nervous. You know, he doesn't do this stuff anymore. And I was nervous and I do this stuff. So I have a lot of empathy for him in that situation. Do I think it was a little unfair that he was coming at me? Sure, but I also can handle it. And I think if it was just Talan, it would have been okay. What happened was I had to do a quick change, do another show that same night, and then actually something even worse happened, which we'll see next week. It was my very first boyfriend, Johnny. Kind of a similar situation in that I thought it was gonna go one way and it took a complete left turn. So I think like the combination of the two back to back, I was rocked. Like I was like I was really upset.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but you know, it makes for good TV, so I guess I can look at the positive in it.
That is good. As a Southern Charm fan, I'm very excited to see Craig and Austin come on this show. What was it like to reconnect with Craig after his breakup, and do you see yourself maybe rekindling any past romance with him now that he's single?
Everyone's been asking that. No, I love Craig. He is a friend. He will forever be a friend. It was so great to see them. Austin and I kept in touch for all the years, but Craig and I obviously reconnected after his breakup, and it was like no time had passed. You know, I really do love them. We have a lot in common. We have a lot of fun together, and I haven't seen that episode yet, but it was my favorite podcast episode to tape. I've listened to the podcast episode, and it's great. So I'm excited for that to come out too.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it.
And I saw Amanda, she posted a picture with you literally maybe half an hour ago, and Paige commented mothers. Have you gotten to talk to Paige at all?
No, I haven't. This is news to me.
Yeah.
No, listen, I've met Paige. I love Paige. I loved Amanda. There is nothing weird there whatsoever. I think, you know, at the end of the day, we're all girls, and I think that's pretty apparent.
Yeah, and speaking of, I mean, your podcast is just huge. What do you think of these other female-led podcasts like Giggly Squad, Call Her Daddy, things like that?
I think it's awesome. I mean, I love that women are out there just killing it. And I love that women are having this moment where we can speak our minds. And I just think it's cool that so many women are rallying around other women. And it's really cool and special to see.
Do you have any advice for anyone looking to enter that space?
I would say just be authentic. I think at the end of the day, that's all we have is being our true selves and to not worry about the noise. I've been getting shit on, I hope I can say that, sorry, since I was 17 years old, you know, but I've been able to have a career for over 21 years. I have another show. And I just think if I listened to all the negativity and the hate, I would have crumbled. You know, you have to understand where that's coming from with people and just do what's true to you and just go after your dreams.
Yeah, I love that. Well, another thing you talked about on Watch What Happens was your relationship with Brody Jenner was not real.
Well, it was when I was 18. Okay, so this is where it gets a little muddy. So Brody was actually my first boyfriend in LA when I graduated high school. I met him almost immediately. We dated for a year, pre-Hills. We broke up, he got on the Hills, then I came on the Hills. When we dated on the Hills, that wasn't real, but he was very much a real boyfriend before.
Okay, got it.
So it's a little confusing.
So we have some clarification.
Yeah, I know, people were confused by that, sorry.
Well, have you watched him on Special Forces? Because he won that the last season.
I know, I've seen clips, I should watch it. I'm so happy and proud of him. I mean, and I got to see him a couple years ago for the Hills. I did an episode of the Hills reboot, and he's grown up a lot, and he really has become such an amazing guy. I mean, he always was great, but I adore Brody, and I'm so happy for him with where he's at in his life.
Yeah, he seems like a good dad.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he seems like a great dad, yeah.
Well, if you could do a second season that follows another podcast tour, who would be your dream guest?
Well, okay, Heidi and Spencer were supposed to come out on the first one. They had to back out for other reasons. They've been on my podcast. It's one of my favorite episodes. I want them to come out. I would love Brody. I think what I learned on this podcast tour was people really resonated with the people who were personal to my life, like the Laguna cast, or Craig and Austin, I think is gonna be a big one. So I think just trying to go for more people like in my actual world. I actually think Paige would be awesome. You know, like I think I've got my eyes on some people, so we'll see.
That's so exciting. Well, fingers crossed. Is there anything else you can tease about what's to come this season?
You know, it was way more emotional. It brought up a lot more from my past than I ever thought it was going to. And you kind of start to see it with Talan on last night's episode, and it just becomes more and more. For me, it was sort of this therapeutic tour in a way where I've realized how far I've come. And I also definitely had a moment of like, the men that I've allowed in my life in the past is kind of sad when I actually think about it. And it's really because of my relationship with my dad. But instead of being sad about it, I was able to kind of flip that and be like, it's actually a good thing because I get to see firsthand how far I've come and that I would never now allow men like this into my life today. So it was the most personal show I've ever done.
Yeah.
I mean, by far.